Good morning, Malcolm Nance.
Good morning.
Um,
Is it?
yeah, well, it is because I've been waiting to talk to you about Jacob Wall, 20-year-old investigator from Surefire Intelligence, live from my mom's basement. Everybody, I got some stuff on Mueller. You're not believe it.
Oh my God. I was on a train coming from New York when that was breaking, and the tweets that were going out. I read Natasha Bertrand's story, and then the tweets that were going out as in real time, people were ripping that fake group apart, Surefire Intelligence. And then I was laughing. I was pulling commuters over going, you have to hear this story. And
I love somebody said
then
they told their 8-year-old son, and he did a double face plant. Never use your mom's number.
never use your mom's number. My favorite one, though, is when Jane Mayer from New Yorker gets his photograph and says, darkening out the face of your photograph. You said you have nothing to do with it, but don't use your own picture, you moron. And then Christopher Waltz as the European investigator, a Israeli supermodel as their Tel Aviv station chief. I like that. A station chief is someone who runs a covert office. Why would an Israeli
He's like the intelligence version of King of Comedy. They're all like cardboard cutouts in his basement that he says works for his intelligence agency.
That's right. Oh my God! If someone doesn't make a film of this, we're in trouble.
In case you just tuned in, we're talking about the short version of the ridiculous story. GOP operative reportedly tried to get women to sign a sworn statement saying that Bob Mueller, when he was the director of the FBI, sexually assaulted them in exchange for committing perjury. They'd be paid $20,000. So sorry we missed him. Jacob Wall, 20-year-old conservative activist who's well known for his reports from hipster coffee shops in downtown LA about how Trump is secretly popular among young liberals.
We're sending Sean in to find him.
That seems like some less than surefire intelligence there.
Oh, you guys are so mean. Okay, but that story is hilarious.
They're so desperate.
Only in the sense that the level of desperation, the guy himself is already an SEC sanctioned securities fraudster before he was 20.
Yeah.
And now here he is. He's going to prison.
Right.
Oh, let's just cut to the chase. This man's going to jail. You know, it's a bad day when the special counsel goes, I don't have time for this. I'm just going to refer this to the FBI for criminal investigation.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a former U.S. attorney said both of them, the pair of conservative activists, could potentially face federal charges. In addition to civil liability that they might have for a defamation claim, I think you can make an argument this is an effort to obstruct justice, said Barbara McQuaid. I mean,
you thunk?
Oh my God.
You thunk?
Yeah.
You were going to go out with this fake agency. This didn't hold up against a bunch of bloggers, much less the full investigatory power of gun-wielding FBI agents who are now about to descend on your world with your Ma's phone number.
This is the saddest. The saddest coda is he'll be shouting, "Don't sell my Steve Austin doll, Mom. When I'm in prison, you keep everything just the way it is."
First of all, he's 20. It'd be a G.I. Joe lady.
Maybe not even that.
Not even. It's
his Pokemon.
From...
There you go.
His Ben 10.
Sell his whole Pokemon collection.
Teletubby.
Okay.
Malcolm, I've got to think though. This is connected to stuff we've been, Politico's been reporting that Mueller may have already subpoenaed Trump. This is what may be going on under the surface. I mean, the we were talking about the archives releasing the fact that Nixon was going to be indicted, which is why he resigned. And I've always said this: Trump will never do anything for the good of the country, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, he won't. And now, okay, we've had our moment of levity, so. This is my last chance before the election, unless I come in on election day, to make it clear what the stakes are. And you're right. This little baby pitch of desperation from right wing, this man thinks that he's empowered by Donald Trump, the way that the bomber thought that he was empowered, the way that the shooter glommed on to Trump's anti-Semitic statements. This guy
which he repeated yesterday about George Soros funding the caravan.
I know, but he doesn't care anymore. But this guy, Jacob Wall, who's always the first person to tweet for Trump, thought, hey, this guy gets me, and if I do something for him, it'll be awesome. And they were tweeting out it was going to be rape and alcoholism charges. This is the level of insanity that these guys have. This is really, I'm sorry to say, this is Nazi level fervor. This is ISIS level blinding of what you think you are and what you think you can do. We fought wars against what can only be described as fanatics. And this guy, this young kid, is a fanatic. And now we have the president of the United States who's decided that his closing argument for the Republican Party is that they are going to run on the straight up racist platform.
Yep.
They will vilify Democrats as being responsible for murder, responsible for what they're calling an invasion. He's now ramped up a 5,800 reserve troop, logistics and supply troop deployment to a combat force bigger than the forces we have in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So, I know I'm already in shouty McShoutface mode, and we haven't even talked about the 14th Amendment yet.
Right.
But we are in danger, okay? This nation is in danger the way I felt the morning of September 11th. The United States, as you know it, next week could cease to exist. And it breaks my heart to have to say this, that these little shenanigans that we're getting some comic relief with are something, but the opposition is losing their mind.
Yeah.
And they think that they are going to wash over us next week like they did in 2016 with what they call the silent majority, and they will put us in our place on November 7th.
Malcolm, you said this memo, you're talking about the troops at the border, is written like war is imminent on the Mexican border. You said the language U.S. Northern Command is using to describe the situation at the border reads like an invading army is about to overrun a combat output. Again, I'm glad you're talking about how dangerous this situation actually is. Go ahead.
I've never seen a document like that. I've never, in my entire career, I have been in multiple wars, multiple combat actions, and multiple covert actions that resulted in the death of other people, right, who deserve to get killed. I have never seen, this is called a frag order, a fragmentation order. I have never seen a document whose situation summary like that was desperate in its writing to describe the southern border. It's almost as if they had written the entire Mexican Army and Marine Corps is an imminent invasion. I got a medal for predicting the invasion of Kuwait, and we put out some pretty desperate warnings that this was coming. Nothing as insane as this document. I don't even know if it was written from Northern Command. It really looks like it was written by Stephen Miller to describe the imminent invasion of the United States by a bunch of kids 1,000 miles away. Whoever wrote it must be fired immediately. And and here's the kicker: it's an unclassified document, which means that this was written for cops and border patrolmen.
Yep. Malcolm, you it's hard to cover all of them, but you said this is the biggest lie Trump has ever told. He worked for years to get rid of Obamacare, saying that it's dead and gone many times. What did he just tweet? Republicans will do a far better job of protecting pre-existing condition than Democrats. Just flat out 180-degree lie.
We're in the lie zone now. Now we are in the desperate whatever it takes situation for Trump.
Yep, and here's what Malcolm's doing. Malcolm tweeted, I'm a multi-war combat veteran resident in New York 19 who is working for Delgado for New York 19. Goodbye, John Faso. You also tweeted, as far as I'm concerned, all early votes might be Trump votes. Get out and vote November 6th. Rain, shine, snow. Vote to save America. As someone else tweeted, Malcolm, whatever you're doing, do more. Do more. Don't wake up November 7th and go, what else could I have done? Right?
That's right. Listen, this is desperate stakes, okay? And this is a raw intelligence assessment that I've been giving this country for 2 years now. And I have been literally, I'm sorry, I'm going to brag. I have been right about everything. And now we're at a point where I'm telling you, the United States, if we do not take the House of Representatives next week, you are looking at the United States government will transition into an openly authoritarian government, which this week they're telling you what their platform is. Lying, calling out, encouraging anti-Semites, encouraging attacks on individuals and groups. Listen, they're deploying the army down to the border. We don't know. They would not rule out suspending habeas corpus,
Malcolm,
which is the right to trial.
You have warned us before about basically being pushed to another civil war. That's what this feels like. It's just every day he's pouring gasoline on these fires of racism. Let me get your take before you go. I got a couple more stories. Trump faces election day deadline on Russia. They have a deadline of election day to decide whether to impose fresh sanctions on Moscow over the poisoning of the ex-Russian spy in Britain. So,
he won't.
As usual, right? Exactly. I was just going to say. So, of course, Russia is not even admitting it, let alone living up to. So, under fierce pressure from Congress, right? He's supposed to, but he's not going to, right? I mean, is he still hoping they're going to help him on election day in some way?
They've already helped him.
Yeah.
Okay. Russia has pushed the United States to the brink of open fascism. Let that sink in. The American experiment, 243 years of stuttering backward and forward, but mainly liberal advancement in this nation, which made this nation great, may end next week. Russia will get away with attacking the United States and putting their own asset into the White House for their benefit, because people are too damn lazy to get up and fill out a piece of paper. Because university students, and I'm pointing at all of you who say that like those guys that were in the University of Southern California, Irvine, who said, I have student things to do. I have other things to do. There was a New York Mag article the other day. If you haven't seen it, 10 university-aged millennials that won't vote and why?
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
One person said, I don't think that either side will do anything for me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the people who vote will have something done for you. But I'll tell you what will happen to you. This is way worse than Michelle Obama saying it's your grandma choosing your clothes and your crazy uncle choosing Instagram. This is where you, in some future,
hey, Grandpa, you chose fascism for me. Well, I didn't want that.
Yeah, well, it's true. It's true. They will choose a lot more for you. What if they, I don't even want to project what could happen here. But I'll tell you what's not going to happen. The way of life that you have all lived from that up to this point till next Tuesday could end for you.
Yep.
It might look the same. It might feel the same until something personally goes out the window. A trans friend of yours ceases to exist officially in the United States government. Abortion is banned and a woman's right to choose, and birth control is taken away from you, right? Or better yet, everyone who is not a white male becomes a second-class citizen.
Yep.
They have said all of this, and it is on the ballot, and every person listening to me must take a person who didn't vote to the election next week.
Shouty, listen for a second.
What?
I feel like I need my bullhorn to talk to him.
You do today.
No, real quick. Yeah. But real quick, if everything going on doesn't make you mad enough to vote, including the egregious voter suppression, Vladimir Putin actively taunting us, laughing at us, saying it's almost over.
End of America.
And this article today, Americans were easily suckered by Russian propaganda in 2016, allowing themselves to be duped by trolls much more frequently than Europeans. Russian propaganda 9 times more effective than its disinformation in Russia, the new report says, because Russians are smarter about identifying it. Poland, Estonia, Ukraine, Georgia, they know Russia's coming after them. They've been culturally trained to recognize Russia as a threat, so skepticism of people in that region is pretty high. Let's not let this happen again. If you would like Russia out of our politics, period, no matter what your partisan stripe, I sure would. I would like, speaking of make America great, I would like America for Americans again in that sense, that we decide our own elections, right?
Absolutely. Let me tell you one last thing.
Yeah.
Everyone in Eastern Europe and Russia remembers that the Russian news media for 75 years was a lie. Every word out of their mouths was a lie. Therefore, no one believes them. But in America now, 1/3 of this nation believes every word out of Russia in the mouth of their agent, their asset, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You must understand, if it comes from Russia, it's a lie.
Yep.
But one last thing, look at what their asset is doing. We had, for the first time in American history, a president of the United States say that by the stroke of a pen, he can get rid of an amendment to the Constitution of this nation. I did not fight my whole life for this.
Yep.
I spent my entire life defending this nation. My family has been defending this nation since the Civil War. No one has ever said they have the right to destroy the Constitution and end birthright citizenship. Because you know what's next? Freedom of speech. If
Yep.
no one stands up and fights for this.
Yep.
You love this country, get out next week. If you have the right to vote this day, today, I don't even want to hear from you. I want you to get your butt up and go vote right now, then bring other people out to vote.
Aye, Captain.
End of message.
Aye, Captain. All right, thank you. Come out on election day and hold me. I'm going to be like a poodle on linoleum. I'm going to be very skittery. Come hold me.
Well, no one's going to be wet, too.
All right. Love you, Malcolm. See you next week.
All right, bye-bye.
There he goes.
He scared me.